All right, so welcome everybody to today's session with the very lovely Jacqui Harper, all about developing your presence. I think presence is such an important topic. And we had a RADA coach come to one of our International Women's Day events about 2 years ago. And I can't tell you, the feedback she got was outstanding, because it's just such a relevant issue really for women. But anyway, let me tell you a little bit about Jacqui. I've got her very long blog here, bio I should say, so I'll just cut it short a little bit, because you'll get to see how impressive Jacqui is. She's a coach, she's an international speaker. She works as a part-time lecturer for INSEAD, which can't be that easy to get into at all. She was a BBC News presenter, so she's very used to being in front of the camera. She's a trainer of executives. She's a colour and style consultant, and she has her new book, hurrah, which I have to hold my hand up, Jacqui, and say I haven't yet bought it, but I promise you I will, because I really, I know, I'm sorry about that. Because we're interviewing you at the beginning of the month, I haven't had time to read the whole purchase it or buy it, but I will be buying your book, and I'll be encouraging our members to buy it as well. And maybe you can mention at the end where we're best to get that from you.
Sure.
And as well as being a successful businesswoman, you're happily married with 2 children, and you manage to fit in all sorts of other things in your life as well. So thank you very much indeed for being here, Jacqui. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on this webinar. I've been looking forward to this very much indeed. So I just want to start with the purpose, really, for me. The purpose is to get you excited about developing your presence. Lots of other things will follow, but if I can get you excited and engaged about doing that, then I will have achieved exactly what I wanted to. I'd like to introduce myself a little bit with a short story. The story is this: it takes place in a classroom. There are children, they're about 10 years old in this classroom, and one by one the children stand up and they read out their assignment, and it's 1 page or 2 pages, and eventually the teacher comes to the last child and she says, now you've written 8 pages. We don't have time for 8 pages today. So maybe you could just read the first 2. And the child is really upset. She's bewildered because everybody else had a chance to read all of their work and she didn't have a chance to do hers. And it suddenly dawned on her that not everyone in that room was as in love with sharing information and communicating as she was. Okay, hands up. No prizes for guessing that child is me, today, all grown up. And I'm still passionate about sharing information, sharing ideas. And really, as we go through, now, why is my screen not moving forward? There we go. So, what have I done since the age of 10? Well, as you've mentioned already kindly, Sandra, I've worked as a TV anchor. And I mention that because how can I help you develop your presence? Well, with the help that I received, when I joined the BBC, I was coached by, it was a broadcaster, not a voice coach, and they looked at various aspects to develop me, so I was ready to go on air. So I had to develop my presence to quite an accomplished level pretty quickly, and that's what I want to share partly with you. The work I do at INSEAD is more to do with my background as a coach. So, we're looking there at the kind of the inner workings, the thoughts, that inner landscape, the things that actually on the inside of us have an impact on how we behave and how effective we are. And so that's what I want to share. If you look at both the external presence and you work the internal presence territory, that's when the magic happens. That is the sweet spot. So I do have a third role, and you've already mentioned my third role. It is as an author, and I'm so excited and so proud to have been shortlisted for the National Business Book Awards earlier this year. So it was a fancy do in central London. I didn't win.
Oh.
I'm not bitter and twisted, Sandra. I I was just, I was just delighted to be in the company of so many talented and brilliant writers, and it was a fun event. Now, the book is where I have the longer conversation about how you develop presence, and we explore what presence is and why it matters. And for me, the simplest, clearest definition of presence is probably the one that works best. For me, it's how people experience you. It's what they see, it's what they hear, and I think crucially, how they feel about you, when they're working with you and when they're interacting with you. That's as simple and as clear as I can make my definition of presence. Why does it matter? Why do I get so excited about presence? Well, it's got lots of reasons why it's compelling, really. Having a powerful presence, it gives you an advantage. It's remarkable. It's kind of out of sync with what you actually need to do to achieve an effective presence. And it's interesting how your presence is seen as an index of your leadership. People think you are competent or other things, really around how your presence shows up for them. So it does help you to have an added advantage. The other thing I think to do is to look at the leadership skill set. If I were to ask you, what are the top skills of a leader? It doesn't matter where you are in the journey, junior to the CEO. I don't know, what would you say? What would people say? What are the top skills?
Yeah, interesting. What do people, top skills of a leader? And it also depends male, female as well, isn't it, really?
True, it does. Does anything come to mind? Sandra, you're my guinea pig, but I'm very happy.
It's me that's on the spot. Yeah, for me, great leadership is about two key things. One is about clarity of legacy and perspective. And second is about engagement. How do you get people behind you to follow you to where you want to get to? They're the two things for me that I'd have.
Yeah, I promise you're not a plant, because I'm going to share with you. Some research that's been done. It was done in 2014 by some leading leadership development consultants. They asked that same question: what are the key skills needed for a leader? But this is significant because they asked over 300,000 people. So you're getting a sense of a big spread. And this is what they came up with. This is the top 3 things that people said, wherever you were in that chain, these were the key things that came up.
Interesting. It's interesting that it says displays integrity as opposed to has.
So again, that goes to presence, doesn't it? You need to see, not actually have integrity. Is that what you mean? Yeah. I think you need to have it as well. It'd be a good idea to have it as well. And if we run down that leaderboard of skills, these were the next 4, 5, 6, and 7 things that people said were really crucial and fundamental to good leadership. Why I get excited is this, because all of those skills that have been identified, presence, supports, accelerates, improves, develops all of those. So when you're looking at developing your leadership potential, presence, punches way above its weight. It really does. The third reason I think is a great reason for developing presence is this, and it's a number, and I grin and I groan with this number. So 26% there, and that represents the percentage of women on boards of leading companies. In this case, it's the FTSE 350. And, I groan because, 26% in 2019, I would be happier if we were, as in that picture, 50-50. But I can also grin when I look at that picture, because it represents opportunity to me. There's a huge opportunity, if we have the right kind of interventions, for women to take up some fabulous senior leadership roles. We can't control all the interventions that will be required to make that happen. But what we can do is we can build our presence. We can help ourselves enable ourselves to lean into that opportunity.